What's up everyone, this is Beast Boy and welcome to the Versatile Finance for the Youth series. So for today's video, we're going to go over basic banking information, including the differences between banks and other banking institutions. So let's get right into it. Alright, so to kick things off, I want to briefly just go over how banks work and what they do with your money. Now, this is going to be kind of like an oversimplified explanation because the whole process is kind of complicated, but I just want to give you a basic breakdown. So, essentially what banks do is when you open an account and you put a deposit into the bank, they will pay you back a small fee in interest, yeah? So interest is basically they're going to pay you for you keeping your money with them. Right? So how bank actually makes money is that they take the money that you have left in the bank and then they give that money away as loans to other businesses and to other bankers. And they'll give those loans out as high interest loans. So banks are going to make the profit between the low interest they paid you and the high interest that they made back from those loans. Now, this might sound a bit confusing because it sounds like banks are taking your money and giving it away to other people, which they kind of are. That's exactly what they're doing. But don't worry, because the federal government will make sure that you have access to all the money that you've deposited. Banks are FDIC insured, which means that anytime that they give your loan out to someone else, that you still have access to all that money. And even if they make a bad investment, give out a bad loan, you will not lose your money. Now let's go over the difference between traditional banks and other banking options. So when I refer to traditional banks, I'm talking about the banking institutions that you usually see around the neighborhood, such as your Wells Fargos, your Citibanks, your Bank of Americas, and more just like that. So some alternatives to traditional banking institutions are community banks and online banks. So with community banks, these are smaller local institutions that focus on supporting their community, which means that they're going to provide lower fees for banking with them. But on top of that, every time they give out loans, the focus of their loans is to be giving them out to other small businesses and organizations in the community. So if you want to find out what your local community banks are, you're going to have to do a little bit more research because they are not widely available. Online banks are another option, and because online banks don't have to pay for a physical building, they usually offer you better benefits, including lower fees, better yield percentages on your accounts. They have access to tons of ATMs across the nation, and they also have little to no account minimums, which means that there's no minimum amount of money that you have to put into the account to keep it open and gain interest on them. So when it comes to online banks, you can look at organizations like Simple, Ally, Charles Schwab, and Capital One, amongst a bunch of other. Credit unions are a complete alternative to banks in general that you can look into. So with credit unions, they usually offer many of the same perks that banks do, including deposits, withdrawals, access to ATMs, and everything else in between, especially loans as well. But the difference between banks and credit unions are non-profit organizations. So this means when a credit union makes profit off of a loan, instead of them putting it into another investment elsewhere, they give you back that profit in the form of better yield percentages, better loans, and just overall better experience in the credit union. So, of course, when you want to bank with a credit union, you want to do the best you can to support and keep supporting that business, because as they become profitable, they cut you back and they help you as well. All credit union accounts are NCUA insured, which is similar to being FDIC insured, which means your money will still be protected. So again, this is a great option for those who do not like the traditional banking system, and you can go over to your local credit union. Alright y'all, so that is it for today's video. I hope you learned something new about banks and the other banking alternatives that are available to you so you can pick the company that is right for you. So if you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button, make sure you comment and subscribe to the channel. Also make sure you follow vs.Style LA on Facebook and Instagram at vs.Style LA. And you can also follow moi on Instagram at BeastBoy with an I, the Hype God. So until next time, peace.